morning, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks. Are you serious? I expect to be joined here in a few minutes by my co-host, the Mad New Yorker, Carlos Chavez. He's yet to arrive in the studio, but hopefully he will soon. Hopefully everybody's doing well on this beautiful, crisp Friday morning of May 19th. Beautiful day here in upstate New York. So many beautiful weekend. Well, I might get some showers tomorrow, but still lots to do. Getting ready to show this house. Pictures being taken next Thursday. So lots of work to do yet this weekend. Cleaning carpets. Carpets that aren't new anyway. So that's that. Listen, we welcome everybody who's watching on Northeast Streaming Sports this morning. We're simulcasting on Let's Talk Sports. You can always catch all our shows on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. If you're not watching live, you can watch later on, of course, at any point in time. We certainly encourage you to like, share, and follow the show, and then share the shows that you do like with your friends. We want to grow our following past that 2,000 follower mark here soon. We'd like to do that. A couple of programming notes. Interviewed Dick Drago last night, a former very good starting pitcher with the Kansas City Royals when he came up in the early 70s. Pitched in relief, was actually the closer for the 1975 Red Sox and played in probably the greatest World Series in my lifetime, if not ever. This 1975 World Series, Red Sox and Reds, Game 6, well chronicled. If you haven't read the book Game 6, which is all about that game and interweaves, players' histories as they're coming to bat. And it's a very interesting book, very easy read, quick read. You won't want to put it down. So check that out if you're a baseball fan. It doesn't matter if you're a Red or a Red Sox fan. Read that book. Sunday we'll have our Stream of Consciousness show. Oh, by the way, some of the other interviews coming up soon. We're going to get a little hit and miss because of my personal situation and getting ready to show this house and move. And so nothing solid scheduled for the next couple of weeks. But we will have be rescheduling Reggie Brooks, who couldn't make it a few weeks ago. We've got Mike Norris, former great pitcher with the A's. We've got Jim Sundberg, former great catcher with the Royals and Rangers. I should say Rangers first, sorry. And Kay Mercer, the wife of my hero growing up, Bobby Mercer of the Yankees. Those will be coming up in the, we'll probably get back. June will be a little bit later probably, but July we'll get back into things full swing for sure. And then we'll bring back the college football huddle by July as well, probably. So we'll look forward to that. And today we'll get into some Mets talk, some Jets talk, some Knicks talk, and whatever talk you want to talk about topic-wise. So feel free to do that. Alan's here. Good morning, Alan. Have you looked up Jim Sundberg yet, Alan? Hope to get him on soon. He's a big part of your team's history. With that, let me bring in the Mad New Yorker, Mr. Carlos Chavez. Good morning, Carlos.
Happy Friday. How's everybody doing?
How are you doing today?
Tired. Long week. A lot of sports. Not enough time.
I haven't caught as much as I like. I was traveling Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I did get to play some golf during work, but that was, Myrtle Beach golf is like no golf in this country. It's beautiful. So
yeah, you got to take advantage when you can, bro.
Yeah, and by the way, there's one thing, guys. If you have never played golf in South Carolina or in the South in general, when you lose a ball, do not go looking for it because you're going to run into an alligator or something, and you'll lose that battle every time. So,
alligator, deer, raccoons.
Yeah, well, I can deal with all those. It's the alligators that bother me. So if my ball's not sitting nice and pristine on the fairway, we'll drop one.
Yeah, look, I'm just going to say one thing. You know what kind of golf player you are when you get on that course. If you don't see that ball, you know that you shouldn't go looking for it. You just pick up your pride, pick up your bag, move on to the next hole. That's it.
I'll give you $1 for the ball. Let's just move. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, they got machines, they got they got animals to recoup that missing ball. You'll be all right.
I don't want to pull in your arm or a leg out of an alligator's mouth. I can tell you that right now.
I've seen guys and video of guys going into these ponds and semi lakes, and I'm just like, what are you doing? You just take the foul, hit the ball.
One thing you gotta learn when you play golf for me, there's an old joke, and I'll use it here. When you play golf with me, and if there's an alligator chasing you or chasing me, or you're playing with me, an alligator's chasing us, a bear's chasing us, I don't have to be faster than the alligator or the bear. I only have to be faster than you. That's all you gotta remember. So I'm out of there. All right. World of sports. I put a couple of subjects in, Carlos, but we can jump around anywhere today. We didn't get a chance to chat yesterday because I was trying to get caught up. A lot of going on, obviously. I want to talk a little about the Mets, who have brought up some kids and, some non-kids in the news today, as Gary Sanchez has returned to the major league.
When the moment I heard that name, and I'm just thinking, there's no benefit to bringing him in for a few reasons.
A lot of reasons.
And the biggest reason is that the depth of the Mets catching unit might not be as deep if you look at the minor league system after Alvarez, right? However, the two main catchers you signed are kind of hurt, are in and out of the lineup due to injuries. And Nito and the other guy's name's escaping me, but
Navarro's out for a while.
Yeah, Navarro. So it's like, but to bring in Gary Sanchez, you're talking about a guy whose confidence is shot. He's been on like 4 different teams in the last year, and I'm not about not giving a guy second chances, but you're giving a guy a second chance, and you're still trying to be a playoff team / trying to get to the World Series.
Well, there's a couple of things here that.
So give me your perspective, please, sir.
What I don't understand, to me, this smells of desperation, right? Because the guys are hurt. They're not confident in Alvarez being the full-time catcher right now. That's what screams to me here, because also, by the way, when they signed him, I get it, little positional depth. He plays in the minor leagues, little insurance, no big deal. But I didn't realize they had till, I think today, to make a decision whether they were going to bring him to the major leagues or cut him. That was the agreement they had when they signed him.
Okay.
Because I guess he'll go find his 5th team in a year if that didn't work out, because it's working out so well for him so far touring the league.
Mm-hmm.
But this doesn't help. You're better off playing the kid. If you're going to play Gary Sanchez, you're going to get bad play at catcher and no hitting anyway. So let the kid learn on the job if that's the case, because he's not going to play worse than Gary Sanchez.
So what I'm thinking too is that I don't think they don't have confidence in Alvarez. I think they just don't want to get to a point where when he's in the minor leagues, he don't play that many games they do in the majors. So I'm guessing they don't want to pass that number where he's, that he hasn't played, and see where he goes from there, right? So because when they brought him in last year, they saw that he was kind of fatigued. They saw that he was like, as much as he has a big bat, they saw that he was, he's going to need to work on some of his skills. So, and he's still doing that now, right? So now it's carried over. He's been in spring training, a full spring training with the Mets. So I think I see what they're trying to do, but I would go another route with the catcher, just because.
Here's the thing, though. What route? Because there's nobody on the roster right now to catch, other than these 2 guys.
Yeah, I'm talking about looking for somebody other than Gary Sanchez.
Either.
Yeah, here's the thing about being a catcher too, is a lot of these guys sometimes from college go in to being catchers because that's one of the easiest ways to get drafted, right? So then you got a catcher, and then you're the Major League Baseball, and you got to find out, how am I going to develop this guy? Because he's, as much as he's a catcher and I drafted him as a catcher, he still misses some skills, whether it be with the bat or whether it be defense, whether it be throwing. So it's like,
all I need is one. I need good defense. This team's good enough that if I get good defense out of my catcher, I shouldn't need him to hit 300 with 25 home runs. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah.
They'll do that.
So the Mets know what they have, because they have a similar situation with Nito, right? Nito's not batting 300, and he's nowhere near 275. Well, he may be around 275, 250, 275, but I think it comes down to is that the bats aren't alive, and like you said, it's a desperation move. Like, what can we do? And then Gary Sanchez out there, he has a decent bat. Maybe he can help. and we need help in the catcher position anyway because we got injuries. And I feel like that was the train of thought. They brought him in. Now he has to play. We'll see what the Mets get out of that. But man, that's hard times right now all over the major leagues. So when with a lot of these injuries are starting to happen now, the summer's creeping in. So a lot of these teams that had depth are looking are looking like teams that need.
Well, the Mets, I mean, I don't know if it's a depth situation, but they're brought up, besides Alvarez getting back to the majors for a while now, they've also brought up Batty recently. They brought up Vientos here just the other day.
Right.
You can't bring these kids up and sit. So Buck's got he's got some tough lineup decisions to make on a daily basis. But Buck, and again, you know I love Buck Showalter. Mm-hmm. But one of Buck's faults, I think, is he kind of sticks with his guys too long, and he's going to have to make some moves with guys like Marte's not playing well. He may have to sit more. And now you got to find a place to get in. Can Batty play left field, maybe? Do you play Alonso at DH and let Vientos play first base, or vice versa? I mean, you can't let these kids come up here and rot on the bench either. And they need that. I think they need that influx of energy from these kids. I think this team needs as well.
Yeah. So the problem is, like you said, energy. You got Escobar that Batty's been playing. Escobar to sits. Batty has been seeing okay defense. Escobar has a little bit better defense because of his experience. But now I think here's a problem, and they're bringing up the young kids, and I'm that's good. But they, like you said, they need to play them. The other problem is without the shift, now your range has to be longer. So if you're an older player, I would say about plus 30, 32, and you're playing shortstop or second base, you have to play more, and that is not easy when you have this kind of schedule in baseball. So bringing up Vientos, bringing up Batty, of course they have Alvarez. Those are good moves the Mets are doing. What's not doing them well, and which I'm sorry, man, I had to bring this up, but that's a situational thing that Buck has had issues with in the past. Had problems with it in Arizona.
Such as?
Had problems with it in Arizona. He had problems with it when he was coaching in Baltimore. With the youth. He doesn't. He's not He's not progressive with putting them in situations that they need to be put in to get better, which is off the bench and on the field. So, and that's one of the things that, like I said, like I like Buck, but he hadn't gotten over the hump, and I'm not sure if he'd be able to get over the hump if he doesn't change his mind. He's older now. He seems like he's got a different perspective on the way he's looking on things, but you know, it's not a problem just that the Mets have. On the other side of town, the Yankees have the same issue.
Yeah, and by the way, you know, Buck can't, and no manager can go out and play for these guys. He puts his best lineup out there, and the guys just aren't playing well. At the end of the day, the Mets are not hitting, they're not pitching, they're not doing anything well. Although, Verlander got booed off the mound the other day. Mm-hmm. Scherzer pitched well, I think, this week, right, in his comeback. But they still got some problems on the pitching side. They got problems all over. Now, Alan asked, and I want to say good morning, by the way, to Robert, who popped in from Sports Scopes. Good morning, Robert. I said good morning to Alan. Good morning to Alec. Good to have you with us over there. Good
afternoon, Alec.
Good afternoon, Alec, yes. Alan asked, are the Mets going to be sellers? I think no way are the Mets going to be
selling. I mean, here's the thing. They got the minor league system that's pretty decent. Well, Mauricio's still there. If they don't feel like Vientos is going to be someone that they could trust or someone they want to play on the field, he might be part of a trade deal. They got like 7 pitchers they found out this season already that are not up to snuff, but nobody's going to pick up these pitchers that are not up to snuff. So,
and by the way, there's no reason to sell. Right now, the Mets are no worse than the Braves and the Phillies were at this point last year.
Yeah, and it's always
the World Series.
Look what the Phillies were able to do in August after they fired their coach.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, it's not. No, they're not going to fire Buck. I'm not saying that.
It's a totally different situation, manager-wise, for sure.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the amount of star power they had on that roster was able to they were able to carry through the season and get better and end up in a playoff situation in the World Series. So,
and the teams you're going to be competing with for wild cards, even if you just say, if you want to write off the division, say the Braves will win, which the Braves are better and they probably will win the division, you're competing against the Marlins, the Phillies, the Pirates, the Brewers, the Diamondbacks. The Padres might get back in this. Who the hell knows? I mean, they may not. The Cardinals might get back in this, for who the hell knows? So you're not out of anything. So I do not think the Mets will be sellers. If anything, they'll be buyers.
They'll be buying. And they'll probably be buying from some of the Pirates, somebody maybe from the Diamondbacks, who they're looking for. The thing that bothers me the most is that in baseball is when teams like, I'm looking for a bat. And it's like, bro, that's not. Even if you get somebody who has a good batting average, it's not. They don't have a good batting average just because they're consistent. They have a good batting average because they have good days hitting the ball, right? Because and you can see that with the guy that they picked up, Vogelback, right? He has good days, and he has a lot of bad days, and he has a bat. He just,
I think you're going to see him take the brunt of the loss of playing time here, because I think what you're going to see is, if the kids play and hit Vientos, Batty, I think you're going to see kind of a rotation between Batty and Vientos and Alonso in the DH spot, and the other guys playing wherever they play in the field. The key, one of the keys for the Mets is whether one of these kids, Batty or Viento, can play a different position than third base and play it effectively. Mets were thinking about playing Batty in left field last night, I think, but Buck was worried about. It was a day game. He was worried about the sun, in a different.
Yeah, I mean, those are things that even guys who've been in the league for a while have issues with that. So,
I drugged him this morning, Tanner, just so you know, earlier today.
I had a smoothie instead of coffee, and I think it might backfire me here later. But
by the way, I have a gripe with Tanner. I'm pretty sure he called me like a dinosaur or something on one of the shows last night that Nick was doing. So I'm not sure if that. I wasn't there. I came and saw the comment later, but I'm pretty sure you threw me under the bus there, Tanner.
There's nothing wrong with being a dinosaur. They're historically a nice creature.
Yeah, they'll be making oil out of me one day, is what he's telling me.
Hey, look, you have value all over the place. You had value when you were living. You had value in the books, and now you have value as petroleum.
All I want, go on for eternity. Yes.
But what the Mets did, trying to keep the roster and have depth, was that they even Pham. The Pham is not a bad player, but Pham's not playing all the time, right? So, and they want his bat, and his bat's if Pham and Lindor and some of the other guys find the bats that they had last year, they'll be okay. But if they just get brand new bats, I think they'll just be better. How about that? Like,
well, again, you mean those players get new bats, or the Mets get new players?
No, I mean like they find a new baseball bat or some kind of different manufacturer, because
I think Lindor's hit. I think these guys will hit. Historically, they've hit. And Lindor, I mean, they're doing some other things to keep the team afloat. They finally won 2 games in a row against the best team in baseball on paper anyway, or standing-wise anyway, record-wise. Mm-hmm. So that's a good sign, and the Mets are starting to maybe put it together. To me, the key is this. I think the bats will hit. I do think those guys will hit eventually. It's going to come down to the pitching staff and whether Verlander or Scherzer can stay healthy, and then who can pitch behind them. They sent Peterson to the minors today. Or this week. So listen, this team is pitching wise like every other team. Yes. By the way, Rob Manfred, please expand 2 more teams, because there's no pitchers in baseball now, starting pitchers. But
a lot of these guys get lost in the shuffle too. These minor leagues and
Nick Bodkins pops in too.
What up, Nick?
So I want some clarification on who actually called me old during your show last night, Nick, because I got some people to send to see you. Just kidding. And CA gets in the room. Good to have you with us. Let's see what CA's got. He's always got something very cerebral to say. Well, somebody got to be creative club celebration coordinator, especially when they tell them to start celebrating singles.
Single men or single hits?
Here comes trouble. Anyway.
No, I mean, look, so here's the thing, Keith. A lot of these small rule changes are coming into fruition. For some of these teams, these players are kind of like, they don't know how to handle it.
3 straight balls. Who was the guy who got 3 straight balls called on him last? Was it a Met pitcher?
Was it McGill? Was it McGill?
No, I can't remember. Robert and I talked about it last night, and I can't remember who the hell it was now.
Gosick or whatever his name is.
Happened to the Yankee, jumping to Michael King. He came in the other night, and before he threw a pitch, he gets a pitch violation. I mean, oh my God.
No, it's an okay rule as far as the time. For time, baseball is a little bit shorter when you're at the ball field, which was great. Last weekend, I was at the Yankee game, and man, both teams were hitting like crazy. It was crazy.
Pace of play is much better. I will give you that. I'll give you that much, and it had to be improved. Pace of play had gotten awful. I agree, but there's some side effects to this rule that people don't look at.
Keith agrees with the change.
Tiny clap. It's not even a golf clap. It's
snaps.
So I didn't agree. I agree that the change is having an effect on that part of the game, but there's side effects that it's not a warning for. When clubs have to petition a league or let the league know that this guy's liable to get a standing ovation tomorrow, so let's make sure that we don't have any pitch clock violations.
I mean, listen, which I was at the Yankee game and it took out what's his name, the mustache. Anyways. They made the pitching change, and I was like, "This is a pitching change that Keith would not agree with."
Right now, by the way, now I know who to blame. It's Nick. If I had to wake Scott up in the nursing home this morning,
but I do want to thank the Yankee crew, the Yankee staff. That was a great job. I was between 5 to 10 feet of every hit that I was on that side of the field, so it was crazy.
What series was that? What series you see?
The Yankees and the Tampa Bay Rays.
Oh, okay. Well, that wasn't a great series for the Yankees, but they started to get
it. They won on Saturday.
They did one, yeah. They started to turn it around a little bit last weekend, and they have. And we're going to talk about the Mets, so we can talk about the Yankees a little bit. And I'm going to talk about this on the Major League Update a lot today. This Yankee Blue Jays dust up is hilarious to me.
It's know what though, dumb drama is good drama, and it brings eyes to the game. Are the Yankees cheating, Keith?
No, and if they are, who cares? Everybody does the same thing. I keep saying this.
They just kick the pitcher off.
You watch a game, and I dare you to show me a coach in a box at almost any time during the game. Never they're in the box. And whatever. Aaron Judge looks over. If you're and the guy admitted he was tipping his pitches. So if you're tipping your pitches, that's not stealing signs, number one. And everybody steals signs. So please stop. And by the way, Brian Schneider. Listen, I'm not a skinny guy, but if you're going to call somebody fat boy, maybe you ought to drop a few pounds first, too, by the way.
I think it's the camera. The camera's giving him a few more pounds than he needs.
Oh, it's the camera. That's what it does to me, too, yes. Camera's added 60 pounds to me for crying out loud.
Hey, listen, no, but truth be told, the Yankees are, whether they're cheating or not, I'm not going to speculate and say anything. If anything happens about cheating, though, or people speculate cheating, I will say one thing. They shouldn't call it out in the broadcast. Like, you can mention it among conversation, but don't call it out in the broadcast, because then you're just adding fuel to the fire, right? And something that Major League Baseball should investigate. Let them investigate and let them come out with a ruling. All you're doing as broadcasters is adding drama where there doesn't need to be drama.
You're talking about the Blue Jays broadcast team brought it up, right? But all they said was they didn't accuse him of cheating. They said, I'm not accusing him of doing anything, but where's he looking? That was very weird.
You'd be questioning that in the middle of a broadcast. It's like,
by the way, I will tell you this, with guys who throw 100 miles an hour and without great control, a lot of times it takes a lot of balls to kind of look away for as long as Aaron Judge did and maybe get hit in the face with a fastball. So anyway,
well, he did it every time he was up too. That I don't know what, like, again, if Major League Baseball says it's cheating, fine. If they don't, fine, but don't just go off of what somebody's saying too.
When a guy's tipping his pitches, it's not cheating. If you see it, you relay the sign. There's no rule against that.
No, I mean, and then you see them talking about it after he made the first hit and he got back in the dugout, and then he hit a home run, and they were all like, yeah, the guy's tipping his pitch. Well, I'm not saying that that's exactly what they say, but you can see signs of them saying, look at the ball, this and that, so I don't know what that conversation was about, but it looked like they were sharing information about what the pitcher was pitching.
Nick is right. The pace of play is quicker. I have come around to that, but the problem is there's some other things that happen that really shouldn't happen. Do a better job hiding your calls. Thank you, Alec. I mean, sign stealing has been going on for 150 years. I keep saying this. And do a better job of disguising your signals. I mean, you've got all ways to do it now electronically. First of all, you can't steal signs electronically, but you can give signs electronically. I don't, hello. And guys don't do it. Good morning to Bob and Jeanette, by the way. How about Robbie Grossman? Guys playing like Willie Mays before another trip to the DL. Yes, he will get hurt. We know that. Sign stealing happened. Yes, thank you, Nick. Even the young guys agree with me. Thank you, Nick.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, like, if you're a broadcaster or you're in the media, you're not helping the game go by saying, is that team cheating? That speculation been thrown out there is not necessary, especially right now in baseball where things are changing and you're trying to get, more and more eyes on the game,
Yeah, I know. I get it. It's,
it's not like
Listen, I grew up. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. That's all I know. Happens in the NFL all the time. That's why teams. Thank you, by the way, Alec.
Alec is Carolina's quarterback.
Wait, my team and my Patriots have been persecuted for 20 years now, 2 decades for stealing signals and doing what everybody else did. Only they got caught. That's all.
Yeah, they did.
Whatever.
But they try to make it. They try to make it a science instead of making it, like keeping it how it is.
Anything else in baseball that floats your gear this morning? I don't have anything I really want to get into.
Yeah. So he brought up the trade deadline. Who are sellers? Who are buyers? I think I'd say about 10 games too soon to find out. But
Memorial Day is about the time.
Yeah. So, but that a lot of teams they already got their players on the list. Seeing if they'll be able to get him.
Here's the problem. I think like the last couple of years, because of the extra wild card, you're going to see more buyers than you see sellers, and there's not enough players to go around. So you don't see the movement that you saw before, and guys are getting a lot more for the guys they're trading who are no good, most of them.
But you look at the time, you also look at the sellers, which are always the bottom side of the team. Now you're going to look at the Cardinals, but the Cardinals, half of the Cardinals players are like, their age is, you're going to just have them for half a season if they,
By the way, Cardinals aren't selling. Cardinals are buying. The Cardinals are playing good baseball, 8-2 in their last 10. They're only 6 games out of first, even though they're 7 games under 500. So that division's there for anybody to win.
That's another thing, right? So some of as much as they might be in the bottom, they're probably closer to first than some other teams.
Yeah, I mean, you might only see 7 or 8 teams selling in all of baseball. To be honest,
that's why I said it was like it's still like 10, 15 more games before you can start even thinking about some of these guys. So
let's see what we got here before we move on to. I played Little League. Only winners got free hot dogs. There's a novel concept. Only reward the winners. Left field and bullpen, especially bullpen for the. I think we're talking about the Mets. I would agree. And starting pitching possibly as well, by the way.
Oh, geez, Louise.
Let's move on and chat a little bit. I want to try to talk about your Jets a little bit. So now that everything, the dust is settling after the draft, Aaron Rodgers is settling into, his new thing of
I don't know if he's settling in quite yet. I mean, he's having problems in the media.
King of New York. He's all over the place. He's at Ranger games. He's at Knicks games. Well, he was until they got eliminated. But listen, this division to me, anybody can win. Anybody can finish first. Anybody could finish last, which means probably 11 games might win this division. Maybe 10. Less. Maybe 10, because I think they're going to beat each other up, which is going to be good. I think for the division. The Jets, to me, seriously, it's hard for me to say as a Patriot fan. They might be the favorite in this division. The Bills have taken a little step back the last couple of years. A lot of pressure on the Bills this year. The Jets have a championship caliber defense in my mind. They've got the skill position players, assuming Hall comes back and the running back position is okay. And Aaron Rodgers actually steps up and leads a team. This team is going to be the favorite in this division. That's argument number 1. What are your thoughts on that? Because I got a flip side to that argument as well.
Yeah, I think that both the Jets and the Bills will probably be in the top 10. Both of them will probably be like 7, 8, and 9 between those numbers. And maybe even 10. I don't, as much as they improved, I don't think that as much as they'll be in the playoffs, I don't think they'll go far. But the way the division's set up for them, I'm sure they'll be in the bottom 9, 8, 9, 10. And but other than that, their biggest problem is going to be, and nobody's talking about it, is their offensive coordinator. Can he do right by the Jets, even though he's worked with Aaron Rodgers before? He did work with the younger Russell Wilson. They didn't do anything with that team in Denver that had a lot of promise.
Younger, not much younger Wilson.
They had a lot of promise, a lot of talent. They even had players that had the ability to score and didn't do anything. So yes, he was a head coach, but I mean, still that record won't leave him because he was part of that team. And what did he do to help that team? He didn't do anything. He didn't help the Denver Broncos at all. And so now that he's a coordinator and he doesn't have all that heavy lifting to do as a coach, can this team score more than 27 to 30 points a game? And if they can, they'll be in the mix. If they don't, they won't be. And that's the reality.
Well, that's not going too far on a limb. Anybody who averages 30 points a game is going to be in contention, that's for sure, unless they're giving up 35.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And you have that head coach and you have that defensive mentality in the coordinators.
And again,
structured there, right? And the players.
Not to defend Nathaniel Hackett, but he walked into a very first of all, some guys are just good coordinators and not good head coaches. And obviously he wasn't a good head coach, but he walked into an untenable situation there with the quarterback because the team gives him his own office. So he's not even sitting in the locker room with the rest of the players. What they did with Russell Wilson, the first thing Sean Payton did was take that office away, by the way. Wilson says he gave it up, but I'm sure it was taken away. That was just a bad situation to have your quarterback, the leader of your team, just totally separated from the team, siloed away from the rest of the team. Not a good way to run your offense. Nathaniel Hackett's got a long history with Aaron Rodgers and a lot of these other guys since they brought in half the receivers that Rodgers said were no good in Green Bay. They're playing for the Jets now.
Yeah, that's another thing I don't understand about that whole situation. As much as you got Aaron Rodgers, do you cater to your quarterback or you make your team better? And they cater to the quarterback instead of making the team better. So now they have a receiving core that's like still mediocre, and older, with depth, but mediocre at least, to say the least. But we'll see. At the end of the day, every season's different. As much as we try to prognosticate anything and everything that could happen, that can't happen, there's always something that'll sneak its head in.
Here's the only thing. Here's my flip side to this argument. And Alan, thank you. Scott Cote and I will be on with Alan to talk Patriots on Monday night. Looking forward to that.
Great.
Let me get through a couple of these other comments, and I want to give my flip side. The Orioles, we'll talk. Listen, tune in for the Major League Update. We'll talk more about the Orioles because the Orioles are for real, by the way. We'll talk more about that this afternoon. Hey, guys, Alan, I'm not sure where Robert's speaking with
Alec, Jets versus 49. That sounds more like Madden than the NFL. That's
a very bold prediction, but not unthinkable, to be honest with you. Alan has Miami winning the division. Listen, we could all sit here and again, to me, any one of these four teams could win, and every one of these four teams could finish last. Girls playing softball, they were only cheerleaders for baseball. Not sure where that came from, CA. Bold prediction from Alec. What? I don't like that one at all.
You don't want to land Caleb Williams?
Well, I don't want to get the number 2 pick. That means I'm going to win about 2 games next year. No, that won't happen. This team's winning at least 9 games.
What, the Patriots?
Yes.
Who's their quarterback?
Mac Jones, the same guy who's been a quarterback the last 2 years. The guy who didn't have an offensive coordinator last year. The guy who didn't have anybody to fall back on.
Just because they're bringing back his old coach from Alabama, don't mean they're bringing back his
number one
winning percentage.
Bill O'Brien never coached Mac Jones at Alabama, just an FYI. They passed each other in the doorway on the way in and out. Bill O'Brien never was there when Mac Jones was.
Which is even worse.
No, listen,
Mac, I don't remember how much time Bill O'Brien was at Alabama. I just knew he was out.
This team.
I'm sorry for that.
This team should have won 10 games last year and gave 2 away with the bad, horrible offense they had last year.
Oh my God, you're starting to sound like a Jets fan.
Bill O'Brien makes this, Jet fans are doom and gloom. They're not winning even with one of a Hall of Fame quarterback coming in now. I'm not even done with the Jets yet. I don't know how I got on the Patriots, but Bill O'Brien makes the team 2 games better all by himself, just by actually knowing how to call plays and put an offense together.
I don't know. That's to be seen.
Let me give you my flip side on the Jets. Here's the only thing that derails the Jets. The whole Aaron Rodgers thing implodes. The press playing in New York, it's all different than Green Bay. Green Bay is like you're out there in literally in the middle of nowhere. The press, you got press everywhere, but you don't have press like you have in New York.
No.
And everything he does will be under a microscope. Everything he says will be under a microscope. Actually, you can't see things that are under a microscope, so that's a pretty stupid thing to say, but you know what I mean. It's going to have, is it going to be the Zava effect that I keep talking about? Or is this going to be a good thing for the Jets? That's the key. Aaron Rodgers goes back to being Aaron Rodgers from 5-6 years ago when he didn't, find whatever enlightenment that he found and within whatever substance he found it.
By the way, have you looked up Ibrahimovic from Sweden, the Swede soccer player?
I have not yet. No.
Look him up. I'm telling you. I'm sorry?
That's the guy Zava's based on, you told me?
Yeah, for sure. Even though I do, there's a correlation on how they are to Aaron Rodgers.
Send me a text so I remember to go look at this. We get through talking, then I forget all about it. So,
they kind of look alike. They speak the same way. It's hilarious. Anyway, and Netflix even has a cartoon movie from Ibrahimovic, and it's funny as well. So
I'm 2 episodes behind on Ted Lasso. I got to catch up here maybe tonight or tomorrow sometime. But not as good a season, I would have to say. And you're a fan of the show, you said, right?
Yeah.
I don't find this season as enjoyable as I had the first 2 seasons. There's too much, there's not like the ongoing storyline that you had, the thread in the season. And I think the episodes are too long as well. I think they were good when they were, 30, 35 minutes. Now they're an hour and 8 minutes. And I just feel like they're trying to draw it out because it's the last season. But
well, you sound like a TV Guide correspondent.
I am a well-known TV.
I will say there's less quirky, funny moments. There's more serious topics.
Yeah.
There's a lot of character, more character detail. So they spread out the storyline a little bit. But
I'll just say this: I want more Roy Kent. That's what I want. More Roy Kent.
Oh, bugger off! But still, no, it's okay. I mean, every TV show is like that, though. If you think about it, so.
All right, we're really getting off. This is like the stream of consciousness show here. We're all over the place. Let me catch up on some comments. 9 games, I'll take the under. Thank you, Alec. We'll have a little wager. Some bread pudding against. I don't know what I can send you here from the U.S. I don't know.
Some potato chips, man. Don't do him wrong.
Alan just jumping. Everybody wants to jump on an anti-patriot. Everybody's anti-patriot this year.
It's not anti-patriots, man. It's anti-good team. It's anti.
No.
You really think the Patriots have a good team?
Why? I did not say they had a good. I do think they have a good team. I don't think they have a great team, but I don't think anybody in the AFC East has a
tricked you into saying something that you don't.
Almost. I don't want to get back into that.
Yeah, I said good, and you think great. That's how the Patriots think. That's the Patriots way.
Listen,
if you say good, it's great.
Why would I have no reason to think the team will be worse than it was last year. Why would I think they'd be worse when Mac Jones is going to be better? He can't be worse. I shouldn't challenge.
What makes you think that he's going to be better? Because he's getting better coaching?
People who know how to coach offense and coach quarterbacks running the offense. Bill Belichick put him in a impossible situation last year to be able to grow as a second-year quarterback, which is a huge year for these guys. So you don't take a step back. And he takes a step back not because of his own efforts, because of the way he was coached. It was awful, and it was never going to work. And Bill Belichick still has not taken any responsibility for it. By the way,
we spoke about this Belichick thing. I told you 2 seasons ago, Belichick needs to go. He can be in upper management. He can stay in football, but he shouldn't be coaching. You did the same thing. You huffed and puffed and you laughed. And you said, no, he's the best coach ever. He
still is the best coach ever.
Then I said this. Okay, whatever. I was like, yeah, whatever. like a few weeks later, they announced that they bringing back the 2 coaches, and then all of a sudden they had a coaching issue. Don't you think that's a Belichick situation?
Well,
They got rid of the 2 coach. They got rid of 2 coaches. Brought in another coach that he's familiar with now, and you're expecting that they're gonna be. You have different results and better, right? That's your expectation. But here's a problem: your team is still not a good team. It's an okay team. So you can't really, just because you add good coaching to an okay team, it's not going to make you that much better. You sound like the Giants today. Oh, I'm bringing in this to play this play. Same quarterback.
We don't have time for the Giants today, but we didn't have time for the Patriots today. But I will let my team's play speak for itself. I am telling you, Mac Jones gets back to where he was 2 years ago only. He doesn't even have to be better than that. This team will win 2 more games than they won last year. Look, that may not be enough to get in the playoffs. I don't know.
And look, the way things are going and the scheduling and all the way things are set up, it's possible with an okay team that you'll still be in the mix, because that division's ridiculous. And the games that they have to play are even more ridiculous.
You know, I find funny too. Alan talks about the 3rd toughest schedule, which is great. It's fine, but it's all numbers. Who cares? Everybody's 0-0. People want to say, the Eagles are going to have it tougher this year because they got the toughest schedule. The Patriots, blah, blah, blah. You either use that as an excuse or you use it as, my team's really doing well because I'm playing the 3rd toughest schedule. Year to year, these teams change a lot of these teams. To me, to go back and look at last year and say, this team's got the toughest schedule it's just more hyperbole. I mean, the NFL doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and that's part of the NFL trying to keep its relevance through the offseason. Look, at the end of the day, I said this also 2 seasons ago. We're not watching quality football. We're watching just
how Alex got me buried 0-4. I'll win 2 of those games. By
remember,
the way,
you mentioned last year. Well, how are these teams going to get better if their preseason's only like 3 games, 5 games, and nobody plays in them, right? You said that. Remember?
I still say that.
Yeah, and then what happened last season? Even on Thursday nights when I was on there with Tanner and by Neatcast, I was like, listen, we're watching terrible games. We're watching terrible football
because nobody's prepared to play football. They don't practice in the preseason. They don't even practice hard during the week anymore. They can't hit during the week after the season starts. They can't do this. They can't do that because, again, we got to protect them like they're little babies instead of getting you prepared to play a man's game.
Sorry. Whatever it is that I can't say, and I don't think that there's stats out there that say because you have preseason, a longer preseason, you'll have a better regular season. What I am saying though is that these teams that are in the top probably won't be on the top again this season.
That's why my argument about strength of schedule before the season even starts is ridiculous.
And the quality, you have to be careful. The quality has to go up. It can't just be that you love your team and you're watching football.
That is not you. If you've watched me, you know that I do not just root for my team. Oh, guess what? We're going 17-0 this year.
No, I'm saying this as a warning.
Very realistic fan. And when I think they're going to stink, I'll tell you. I told you the Yankees wouldn't make the playoffs last year, and they did. So
no, I'm saying this because you're looking at now the cord cutting and people getting online. How many people are going to pay for that YouTube channel and pay over $200 to watch football? I was already upset paying over $100 to watch football, and I don't feel like I'm getting quality football, even if it's not my team playing. Like, because if I'm getting the NFL channel, I'm going to watch 3 or 4 games extra, right? Yeah, especially on the East Coast because West Coast teams are playing, so I can catch.
That's why I'd rather go out and watch the game with my boys and have a few beers and enjoy it.
But not if this terrible stuff that we're seeing, man. You know,
so, I can go watch all the games. So Jacksonville win their division earlier than expected. By the way, I got to go back to Alan's comment for a second. Just so you guys know, Alec, Alan. Who else was in this conversation? I'm taking receipts. I'm pulling a little. I'm going to steal something from Robert Saleh, and I'm going to take receipts.
Oh my gosh! You're going to wish you had Robert Saleh as a defensive
coordinator. We'll collect at the end of the season. 181.
No, 18-pound.
Oh, Jesus, I can't read that good. 18-pound, that was a lot. 18 pounds is a lot. Brisket smoking ready before game one night in Vegas. Go Stars. He's all over the NHL hockey.
Yeah, once Brett Hull and McDonald left that team, that was, to me, that was it. That Hitchcock team, that was it. After that, I haven't been a big watcher of the Stars.
He's a big Dallas fan, and we'll be talking a lot of hockey with Jim Beringer on Sunday morning. So make sure you tune in then.
What do you think about my predictions, Keith? What do you think about my predictions?
Which
you
one?
Call me crazy. A lot of people say I don't know about sports.
I hope that's a
I don't play sports, and some of these predictions I call are starting to come to fruition. What say you about what I said?
You've never predicted anything wrong after the fact. So which ones are we talking about?
Yeah. What I tell you about the Rangers coach?
You lose more tapes than freaking Mike Francesa when it comes to predictions. Let me tell you. What'd you say?
What do you think about the coach being fired for the Rangers, the New York Rangers?
I think it stinks.
No?
Yeah. 110 points, 107 points, 2 years running, conference finals 1 year.
I just think that Drury, I feel like Drury wants more control, wants to be able to tell his coach, hey.
Maybe he ought to coach. Maybe Drury ought to coach his team.
You know what? That's a challenge. If I was Drury, I would take that. I would take that in a minute.
Jim Dolan made Isaiah go coach the team, if you remember, when he was.
But I don't want to sound mean or bad. I like Isaiah Thomas as a player. I liked him as a basketball player in college. I was small, but I've seen the tapes. I've seen him play in college. That was nice. Seen him and play throughout the latter of the year on the U.S. basketball team. Great player. But coaching and GM, just because you do some stuff great doesn't mean you do everything great. Mm-hmm. And those are two things that I feel like he should have just stuck to being in administration, not as much as a GM, but just being in like recruiting and talent scouting and stayed on that part. He hasn't really done good as a GM or a coach, and I don't understand why the people keep giving him that kind of position. He should be like the director of scouting or something.
Has he had a job since the Knicks fired him? I don't know that he has.
He's been around the league as a scout? Not a scout, but just a consultant.
He's certainly not high profile. That's for sure.
I'm sorry?
He's certainly not high profile. I mean, I haven't heard his name, and
I mean, he was with the Pacers for a few. He's been around different places.
Pacers before he came to the Knicks.
I don't know why Isaiah Thomas. Let's not talk about him. How about that?
Just because you know what? Almost every sport, it seems great players just don't make great managers, coaches, whatever. They just don't. As a rule, there's some that do. Yeah. Let's move on to the Knicks. I want to talk a little about the Knicks.
How about that? My prediction about the Knicks is right.
Oh yes. So let me start there. Your prediction about the Knicks: what? Losing to the Heat?
My prediction. Okay. So what I
success this year, they improved. They had a great second half. They won a playoff series. They were playing with house money after that. Turns out this Heat team that they lost to is pretty goddamn good because they just beat the pants off the Celtics the other night.
Yeah, so like my thing and my prediction was that Tibbs is not he won't be able to get the Knicks over the hump like he hasn't got any other team over the hump. That was what I said about the
I understand that. And so far
I said to you,
you're right.
And I said to you, once Tibbs starts playing these younger kids, his team will be better. It took him almost 2 seasons to do that.
Mid-season, he stopped playing just his guys. Yes, yeah. I agree.
Okay, so those are things that I hit right off the bat. So, okay, now, and I'm saying to you this right now.
We got to start.
If Tibbs does not get fired, the Knicks will not get past where they're going right now.
Thibodeau's not getting fired, so that's not happening.
What happened and what the Knicks had gone through and how they're different than another team is that he's been putting the onus, and I think this is also contractual too. He put the onus on Randall, and Randall's an all-star basketball player, but he's not a great player. He's an all-star basketball player. Now
he shouldn't be number one. He'd be a great number two. He can't be number one.
There you go. Right. So, and I'm saying this not to be mean, but there's other basketball players who this week stated that there's a lot of basketball players in this league that are not that good.
I don't disagree. I
mean,
mean,
so that's players amongst players, which is whatever. That's another story for another day. But when you put in Randall in for plus 30 minutes and you're just getting him, he's just getting minutes and not producing, and the amount of time that he's given compared to other players, you won't see his name on the top of ranks in the list of much of anything. His plus and minus is not that great. He'll probably fall between in the top 20, but he's more in the bottom half, and that's not good. That's not good. So he's a player that the Knicks need to actually just either get rid of or just keep him on the bench, because he'll probably play better off the bench than he would if he's a regular starter. Now, him being on the court took away from other players being able to develop who are younger. In development, I don't mean like coaching them, getting them better. I mean like playing in games and getting them situated to play in the playoffs and above if it takes it to that point, if that team takes it to that point. But, what hurt them a lot and why they didn't beat the Heat is because Quigley was injured. I truly believe that. If Quigley was on the court with Brunson, then it would have been Quigley, Brunson, and it would have made a difference. And Hart, it would have made a bigger difference than what they ended up playing with the Heat. Now, that's not an excuse at all. But
I don't disagree with that. Quickly, could have made a difference in this series, but the guard play didn't hurt. Barrett, other than two games, the last game with the Heat, he did not play well, and the first game against Cleveland, in between, Barrett played really good basketball,
because the thing was that he was able to work with transition. He knew that the onus wasn't on him all the time. So when he was on the court, the same time the second guard was coming in, the sixth man, which was Quigley, he knew his role. They were understanding each other's roles. What happened was that Tibbs kept in Randall. Randall would get tired. He just kept playing him, taking time away from other guys that would have been able to play. Randall's over there hanging around the 3-point line like he's some kind of Ray Allen or Reggie Miller. He can shoot threes, but he's not a consistent 3-point shooter. Now, again, the whole team, they would have been shooting the ball anyways. They should have just been attacking the basket. That's it.
He does facilitate from out there, but he actually played out of control trying to facilitate in game 5 or maybe it was game 6. He kept getting himself trapped under the basket and trying to dish the ball, and there's nobody there but Heat guys.
He's the man who should be putting the ball in the basket. At that point, when you're underneath the basket and you're almost 7 foot, you're closer to 7 foot than the other guy next to you, you better be putting your hand towards the goal. Even if you don't make the basket, just get the foul.
Yeah. Well,
we knew the Knicks knew who they got in Randall from LA, and they overpaid to get him here. That's just the reality. And Tibbs should, as a coach and as somebody who breaks people down and has a basketball mind for defense and whatever he does, he should have understood what he had in that team. And that team should have never shot another 3-pointer after game 5 at all. Don't shoot because the percentage was less than 20, was between 25 and 30.
That's not the answer though, because you can't win the NBA without
you can. Denver Nuggets been doing it almost the whole Denver Nuggets, except for like towards the middle of the season and even yesterday, they were shooting more inside the 15-foot, 12-foot range.
That doesn't mean they've eliminated. That doesn't mean they've eliminated the 3-pointer.
No. Of course. I'm not saying that they did. I'm just saying that they have their records the way that it is because they controlled the inside of the goal in that field goal percentage in that shooting area. So I'm just saying that you don't need the 3 to win an NBA game.
I will tell you this. I will agree with you on one thing. Tibbs doesn't need to go for this team to win. Randall needs to go for this team to win. Randall needs to be traded. This is and I read a great article by Mike Vaccaro in the Post about a week ago, right after they were eliminated, and he kind of compared this to and you probably won't remember this, but before the Knicks actually got good in 1970, they had Walt Bellamy, who was a great NBA center, playing with Willis Reed. Willis Reed was playing forward. Right. They decided they could not win with Walt Bellamy. They traded him for Dave DeBusschere, and it changed the whole culture of that team. The Knicks need to move Julius Randle in the same kind of way. Walt Bellamy was a star of the team. They were not afraid to move him. They need to be not afraid to move Julius Randle. Now, with that said, a lot of rumors after Doc Rivers gets fired in Philadelphia that Joel Embiid might be in play for the Knicks.
Oh, God, no, please.
First of all, I'm not sure that's a great idea either. Mm-hmm. Second of all, I don't see how it ever works. I see Philadelphia guys commenting on the article that I was reading that Oh yeah, you know what? That's a great move that they should get a number 1 pick, Mitchell Robinson, and their choice of Grimes quickly or McBride. The Sixers aren't making that trade.
No,
they're not making a trade. You're going to have to trade the franchise to get Embiid.
And the problem with the Sixers is that they made Embiid that franchise player. Remember, I told you that again 2 seasons ago. They need to blow up Philadelphia because that's not a good. That's the contracts are not great. The coaching situation when they brought in Doc Rivers wasn't a good idea anyways. And this is where we're at now. 2 years in a row, they've been in the playoffs and been eliminated.
What coach do you like in the NBA, by the way?
I'm sorry?
What coach do you like in the NBA? You got to think that hard.
Well, there's not many. There's a lot of coaches that are,
I'm going to tell you what, the best coach in the NBA is still alive in these playoffs, and that's Eric Spoelstra.
I was going to say Eric Spoelstra, but I'm like, but he has Pat Riley with his finger on him. Like,
no, I don't think that's true anymore.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think Pat Riley's pulling the strings there anymore. And I hasn't for a long time.
I would say if Pat Riley was not there, would Eric Spoelstra still be the coach?
Maybe not. I mean, that's possible he wouldn't be. He was because he's his protege, right? He turned the team over to him.
What a find! What a remarkable find!
And it took some chutzpah for Riley to turn the team. He was a kid when he turned the team over to him.
Videographer, video, editing.
I mean, we're talking 10 or 11. How long ago? 10 or 11 years ago. He's been the coach of that team for a long time now, and he's the most underrated and, in my mind, the best coach in the NBA.
Look, his paycheck ain't saying that.
No, but look at the team he's got in the conference finals.
Yeah. No,
I think he's done a great job.
Again, like I said this, and you said this last week. You're like, well, they barely walked in, and I've said, well, the injuries towards the end of the season didn't help them. And you're like, everybody gets injuries, but
they do.
It's true. But that core, overplaying their and I'll say this. I didn't think Lowry was going to be a good pickup for anybody. I felt like he was spent in Toronto.
Played well against the Knicks.
And he's not playing well every game, but he has games.
No. Yeah.
He has games where him being on the court makes a difference.
He made
and then there's games where him being on the court makes a difference as far as like not being able to catch up to some other players.
Yeah.
Years younger than him. But again, smart basketball IQ by Lowry, doing some of the things that he's done. He helped, get rid of the Knicks, defeat the Knicks by using his brain more than his legs, and then even using his legs, he had games where he's shooting and running around, playing defense. And what a pickup, man. I don't tend to say things about guys like Lowry. Sometimes I'm like, oh, they're spent, move on from him. But he's played himself out, and he might not get another big contract ever again, but I hope he gets closer to a championship than some of these other guys on teams. Because you got to give it up for people who play hard, and like they know that they're not the same player. And I think Lowry's figured it out. He's not the same player. He's not expected to do the same things, but he does what he can, and he does the best at it.
Yeah.
And I think we need to give props to players like that.
Well,
because the NBA is missing a whole lot of that.
There's a very good chance he might be playing the NBA Finals the way they looked in Game 1 against.
If he does, that's one player well deserved of being there. If there's any player right now.
Well, I'll agree with that too. Look at that. We agreed at least twice to this morning. It's amazing.
Must have been that smoothie, man.
Must have been what I put in. It helped a lot, I think, too. So, again, thanks all you guys for participating today. Nick and Tanner for popping in. Robert, Alec, Alan, PA. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so.
Happy Friday, guys.
Thanks very much. We'll see you guys next week.
Watch all those sports.
Great weekend. Enjoy the hockey, the basketball, the baseball. Lots going on still. And the PGA Championship, by the way. Have a great weekend, guys.
Maybe they'll find your ball.